One of the many artists that came in during the Impressionist era was a French artist named Edgar Degas. He was born in Paris in 1834. He was known for his pastel drawings, oil paintings, and bronze sculptures. Edgar Degas, as I said, was an Impressionist painter, but he couldn't draw outdoors because he had poor eyesight. For this reason, he mainly painted pictures indoors. He had a different style from other Impressionist painters, who were able to quickly portray changes in color and things in a natural light-filled environment. In 1855, Degas met Jean-Auguste Dominique Ingres, whom he revered, and had advised him to draw lines, young man, many lines. Perhaps that is why Degas captured and portrayed modern urban people in an industrialized society with brilliant drawing skills and brilliant colors. Now, Degas did not think highly of women. As a child, he had witnessed his mother committing adultery. It's no understatement to think he hated women and was single all his life. However, he had painted many pictures about female ballerinas. Now, this wasn't because he was interested in ballet as an art genre, no, but because he felt disillusioned, lied to, because that reality of society focused on the female body of a ballerina, and that was the object of beauty and even fantasy. Therefore, Degas focuses on the scenes of the rehearsal, the tiredness, the long hours, the practice, rather than the gorgeous performances they performed on the stage. Among the many ballet paintings of Degas, relatively few portray scenes on the stage. He captured the realism of the ballerina, which was not seen on stage, but behind the scenes. It's almost as if painting a natural face instead of a face filled with makeup. Degas had pursued realism. If you look at his ballet paintings, you can see that he emphasized the balance and unique distorted movements that appear when they are dancing. Also, Degas painted as if he were just observing the human body. He would roughly paint the face of the ballerina, because to him it was more important of what kind of movement the ballerina was taking rather than who it was, so all the characters in the ballet paintings look alike without any individuality. Now we're going to talk about two paintings that Degas had painted, the first one being the ballet class. The most famous painting of his many ballet practice scenes is called the ballet class, which is completed in 1874. The composition consists of cooler colored palettes. It is a painting of many young dancers surrounding the ballet teacher. He describes the various acts of the ballerinas that appear during breaks, such as scratching their backs and showing signs of fatigue. Mainly, these girls were just that. They were youth. They were young girls. And they had been practicing for hours. In particular, you can see mothers off to the side watching their young daughters in the corner of the practice room because the poor working class at the time raised their daughters as ballerinas to try to earn money, sponsors, and supporters. Such a reality can be seen from the star painting, which we'll talk about in a little bit, which is depicting the splendid performance of the ballerina on the stage. Now, the star. In this painting, Degas had used bold and balanced structures that placed the main character, which was the ballerina, on the bottom right corner of the canvas. The painting is also split into a contrast of warm colors and cool colors, one being on the left and the cool colors being on the right. The light that hits the ballerina on stage has a warm light. If you've ever been on a stage, you know how hot those lights can be, while the shadows that they cast are very cool toned. It kind of almost brings back a certain elegance to it. Right behind the ballerina on stage are the other ballerinas preparing for the next scene and an unidentified man on the left side of the canvas. Both can be seen standing between the curtain behind the stage. The man's black suit shows that he is a bourgeois gentleman. He is most likely a sponsor of the performing ballerina or a potential new sponsor. He is waiting for the time to meet the ballerina after the performance. For the ballerina, who was not considered an artist at the time, these things were common. So there are many parents who had put their children to learn ballet, pressured them, just forced them, because this was a way for the family to escape poverty. So the parents did whatever it took to get their children to be ballerinas. Degas works well representing the characteristics of the Impressionist art, such as thick impasto and loose renderings. His portrayal of urban life, of modern society, and the backstage of ballerina stem from his thought of expressing an unexposed aspect of society. He lost almost all his eyesight in his last years, but his paintings show more than what we can ever see.